Hey guys, and welcome to another GameXplain discussion. I'm your host, Derek Rittner, and I'm joined today by Chuggaaconroy to discuss the Japanese Xenoblade Chronicles X Direct that just happened. So Chugga, what'd you think?
I thought it was interesting. We didn't really get to see, or we didn't really understand, everything in it. I know we were talking about that beforehand, because, of course, Japan only stream, go figure.
Yeah, I mean, it was... You can kind of glean some things from the visuals and what they're showing, but you're still missing a lot in translation.
Yeah, because there were a lot of sections where it was just them, kind of talking about, the different gameplay aspects and things like that. And while you could infer certain things, I'm just kind of afraid that we have some details wrong, though, so I guess I'm kind of slapping a disclaimer on this. But, some translations have been coming out, and we've been talking about them. There's
some quick ones coming out there. I mean, this is just a general impressions thing. We don't take this as gospel fact, but this is just us reacting to this Direct in general, because we just don't have all the facts, because it's going to take a little while for everybody to translate all this stuff and to get the actual idea of it. There was a lot of cool things that they showed off that we could understand even if it was in Japanese. Finally get a look at all of New Los Angeles and all the different places. Got to see that cat we're going to rescue eventually. So there's all kinds of stuff that you could still take away from this trailer even without understanding it. But overall, I mean, it's still looking like a beautiful game and just so much to do. But there's some interesting things to still take away from this. For one, the fact that I think we both agreed that the map looks surprisingly small, unless that's just the way that as far as they pulled back. They showed the different areas as far as this one continent. And I guess the question is this the only continent in the game, or is there much more to it than what they showed off?
They're talking about each of those 4 areas that we saw as if they are continents, like each one is. Mm-hmm. And it seems like in each one of those areas there are different locations. For instance, in that volcanic region, which is called the, I think it's Black Steel. Mm-hmm. On the Black Steel continent, you have that volcanic place, but in that same area, you have that whole mechanical scaffolding looking area that we've seen in some other trailers. So it could be that in a various continent that could contain what would be the equivalent of 3 or 4 major areas in the original game. Or they also have said that a lot of planet Mira is uncharted, and those continents do look really split up, and there's a lot of area in between them that just isn't really doesn't have any sort of islands or anything like that. It could just be that there's different continents or different land masses that they haven't discovered yet that just simply are not on the map when you start off. What I'm thinking is, you start on one continent, which is where Neo Los Angeles is, which is called the Grassland Continent. That's where the Primordial Wilderness is. I still can't say that. And then it would just be that you have 3 other continents, and you can choose to go to them in any order, maybe.
That seems to make sense. Just to have, since Neo Los Angeles will be the central area, and you can go around and explore them at your leisure. And as we can see, we talk about how small they look, and that's on all in major air quotes, because they showed off a lot of these areas, and they still look freaking huge. They have, as they said before, there was going to be areas that can only be accessible by the dolls, and you just watch them just flying through these giant forests, up these mountains, and it's just, the scale is just unbelievable. Yet it's kind of funny that we're calling it small because there's only so many areas.
It's kind of like how the world of Skyward Sword is actually pretty decently sized, though, but because there's just 3 major regions, a lot of people perceive it to be small.
Yeah, it's all about that perception, and it's funny how it could be skewed, even despite knowing otherwise. But there's actually some interesting things about this whole travel thing, how it would actually work and how we explore and travel. We get to see how the frontier system works, how you go to certain areas and basically set up this, some sort of drill, and it will somehow show you what's available in the other areas surrounding it. So I like that there's a focal point, okay, I can go from this to this to this to this and keep exploring, but of course you don't have to do that. You could still just explore on your own. But I do like that there is direction involved here. It's not just setting you loose and okay, go at it.
Yeah, it seems like there are at least some, there's many different objectives, though, but you do seem to have at least some linear progression in how you're going about things. if you were to use that drill, it would show you around the area, like, all the different things there are for you to do, different icons, like, you know, some monster that you can hunt, or some sort of quest objective, something or other. There was an icon actually shown that resembles the heart-to-heart icon in the original Xenoblade Chronicles, but you don't actually see them do that at all in the trailer, though, but I guess that does confirm at least that heart-to-hearts are back.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of systems that are actually back. You know, potentially heart-to-hearts, and then, of course, we've got a much better look at the affinity chart. So that's definitely back, and it seems as big as ever, because it just showed character after character after character, and who knows how much you'll do, and you'll probably have to change up your which job you're part of in order to, like, actually help those people. It might even be just that much more involved.
Wouldn't be Xenoblade without the affinity chart at this point.
Exactly. So there's definitely just looks to be a ton to do as far as, like, all the quests. They just kept showing person after person, and it's kind of impressive. But they actually do seem to be making it a lot easier to travel around this world. You can do this major sprint, like you're just taking off like a cheetah. At certain points, you got this, like, huge jump that you can perform. And then, of course, you got the dolls. But the other kind of cool thing is that you figured out from the translations, you can, of course, we said before how you can skip the world to travel points. And before, it's usually like a set place that you transport to, and then you work your way from that point. Well, it looks like you could actually place your own. So you can, like, point up area at the map that you've already explored, and then just skip right to that exact area that you pointed at. And that's a really cool feature.
It seems like it's one of the machines that the Lin Li is able to place down. Like, she did that drill thing that would show you, like, all the things around you. It seems like, alternatively, you would be able to place down, like, a skip travel point. She's also known to be a dolls mechanic. So it could be that the player's different skills, like, will play a much greater part in, like, what you can actually do. So there's not just things that, you know, characters are described to do in cutscenes, and you see them do in cutscenes, but it doesn't really impact the gameplay much.
Yeah, you've actually pointed out a different aspect of that too, because you said that dolls could only be piloted by certified Blade members, which means, of course, we won't see Tatsu rolling around in a doll.
It's just like him getting behind the wheel of one of those things, just going nuts with it, just being like, "Yeehaw, na paka pow!"
So yeah, it's so funny that it's interesting that you'll have to sort of choose who you want to use if you want to have, like, a full party of doll users. Or, like, you could really change up, you know, your party depending on what you want to do in the world. And I kind of like that aspect, that everybody has their, you know, own unique role beyond just combat.
I guess, though, I do kind of have to wonder if some party members will be better than others just because only certain ones will be able to use the dolls. Then again, though, they have said that you could only use dolls at specific times in the past, so maybe it's not, like... It's not something that you, like, always get to do in battle anyway, so perhaps not. But then again, if Ricky was any indication, Nopon are way more powerful than any giant robot could ever be.
Well, there you go. So yeah, it's interesting that the Nopons are back, but they actually did show a couple other alien creatures in this in the game, as far as apparently inhabitants of Mira. We got to see the one guy who was sort of has these, like, goat horns. And then these other, like, more lizard-like guys that had some very squeaky voices.
Honestly, the squeaky voice guys, they reminded me a lot of, like, Star Wars, like the Sand People and everything.
Oh, yeah. The Jawas, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting to see that there'll be definitely, you know, many more races, that Mira is not an uninhabited planet as far as just, like, you know, intelligent creatures are concerned. So I guess that's where the plot will come in. And I guess... maybe as far as story is concerned, each area is inhabited by a different indigenous people, and you actually can do missions for them and increase your affinity with them, and sort of, like, get humanity in tight with these other races.
What's interesting is that blue guy that had those goat horns, he was seen piloting a doll in the E3 trailer from last year, so that implies that he will join you at some point, or at least become a certified Blade member. One thing I liked about the original game is just how there's all these different races and you can, you know, play as them. I obviously am not going to go into, like, detail for spoilers or the people that haven't played, though, but I mean, everybody knows you can play as a Nopon in the original.
Mm-hmm. So it's good to see that they're bringing that back and keeping that intact. And yeah, I just really enjoying everything I've seen. Like, what else has stood out to you about this whole direct?
I do have to say, the opening cutscene looks a lot different than it did at E3, like, way different camera angles. I swear that there's even, like, voice clips that, like, weren't in the E3 version. And, again, it just kind of shows how much difference there is. This wasn't in the Direct, though, but perhaps maybe we don't have to worry about the world being so small based on, like, how the world map looks, though, because the download size for the game came out just as the stream was ending, and it's 23 gigabytes.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
No wonder it has a Japanese bundle that includes the 32 gigabyte system. That's the only way you'll be able to fit the dang thing on there. Of course, they're giving you a physical copy of the game as well.
I hope we get that bundle, or at least some kind of equivalent, though, because the bundle, which we haven't talked about yet, that comes with an art book, you get a poster, you get a little eShop card that has Lindley and Tatsu on it.
Yeah, it's just like, they have this really good, they're giving the game this really great push in Japan, and I hope we get something close to that. I mean, I don't expect us to get a system bundle, because I don't think this is going to be, I mean, this is going to be a well-received game, but I'm not sure if I consider this a system seller or not. It's hard to say, honestly.
Yeah, I wish the rest of the world cared as much as Japan typically does about this type of game.
Yeah, it'd be nice, but oh well. But yeah, speaking of that, we actually have an official Japanese release, which is April 29th. So they're definitely getting it this year, and I'll be very curious to see when North America gets it.
They're saying 2015, they're standing by 2015, but they did the same thing about saying it was a 2014 release for North America last year, so I don't know.
Yeah. We could just hope and wait and see. I mean, it's obvious why they didn't do a North American Direct, because all the information was provided by the characters. So we can only assume that they don't have. Well, they haven't officially shown any of the English voice actors yet. So hard to say exactly how far they are with the recording and the translation and the localization.
I'm certain they've at least cast voice actors for it. It's just that, officially revealing them is going to be another thing, because if they were to do it, that would be, in a way, officially revealing what their English voices are going to be.
That's true. That would have been a lot more information and whatnot. But I do wish they could have found some way to make this worldwide, because this is interesting information. I think, this is stuff that clarifies the game and gives you a better idea how it works. And, as we said, we can glean some stuff from it, but it's hard to say exactly what's going on and, get fully excited, because we just don't know all the details.
Well, we were able to, tell a lot of things just from this footage, even if we couldn't, understand the Japanese.
Yeah.
I do have to say, little details. First off, Lindley's voice is so freaking cute.
Yeah.
She is adorable. And, I like those scenes of, her and Tatsu interacting, and just, how Tatsu's animation was. I've noticed that, not only are, facial expressions a lot more pronounced in this one, because, just the higher graphical prowess, though, but, Tatsu himself seems a lot more animated than Ricky does. And that scene, where he takes off his hat and he has, serious hat hair and, a comb over, that's so adorable.
Yeah. It's nice to see them giving them a lot more personality, which I was a little worried about, because they just had, they'd have Elma stand there, and it was just very rigid and just sort of moving the mouth. But I guess because it's sort of an exclusive thing, they don't want to spend too much on the animation to try to make these guys look actually animated.
Yeah, and on the characters and how they move and everything, there's been one complaint that I've seen in pretty much the comment section of anywhere that there's news on this game. And there's people saying that they think the character designs have really derpy eyes, and I'm I don't see it at all. I don't know if it's just because I play a lot of Japanese stuff, or because I have or because I've seen artwork from other Xeno games before, but I'm not even trying to defend the game series like a fanboy or anything like that. I mean I legitimately don't see it. Their eyes look just normal to me.
Yeah, I never got that as well. It's just they look about as normal as you can get. So I mean, the character, I have no problem with the character designs. I think they all look interesting, and of course, they'll probably be able to, they'll get new armor as you go along. So it'll be cool to see how they get dressed up and everything else.
Every time I get new equipment, it's always a fashion show.
Yeah, exactly. And there's so much equipment.
Oh, this isn't quite related, but. Xenoblade Chronicles 3D is going to use the Shulk Amiibo. They revealed that alongside everything else that they posted on the official Xenoblade Chronicles X website.
That's nice of them to have a super exclusive piece of, I don't know, some additional thing for the game that barely anybody's going to get to use.
Yeah, they dropped this news one day after it's been stated publicly that GameStop is going to have to cancel pre-orders because they just are unable to meet the demand.
Yeah, good luck getting Shulk. And I mean, they haven't revealed exactly what it's going to be involved or how in depth he's going to be, but it's content that's kind of. The more this is happening, the more I'm sort of wondering about this whole Amiibo thing, because it's content that's locked away. And I mean, yeah, you can always get the Amiibo and whatnot, but here's the thing: even if you do want it, it's freaking impossible to get these Amiibos.
Even if you're willing to drop the $12.99 on that content, it doesn't mean you're gonna get it.
Yeah,
because the supply is just simply not there. I mean, I've heard all kinds of explanations that this was like on the retailer's end, not believing that Amiibo would sell as well as they actually did and things like that, though. But it's still just impossible to get so many of them.
Yeah, they're just there's everyone that everybody really wants is extremely hard to get. And I know Nintendo's promising that the Mario series will be a lot more easier to get than the Super Smash Bros. Series. But it's still just crazy that they just, these characters that don't get represented are finally getting representation. So, of course, people want to get, the major fans, of course, want to get them. I mean, they might not be huge, but they're still enough that you're selling out. And then just the fact that there's collector's value to them. So, it just baffles me that they're doing this. And, to have Shulk, to have only Shulk, I guess is the clarification, is that, you can't just use any Amiibo to unlock the content in Xenoblade Chronicles 3D. You have to have Shulk, and I think that's probably the major deal. If they could just find a way to open it up to more characters in some way, I think that would solve maybe a few of the problems. So at least maybe one of those characters are a bit more common, but it's just not happening.
No, it's not, and I don't know, maybe this... I'm not really sure if this means that Xenoblade Chronicles X will use the Amiibo as well. I could see them doing it for a costume or a set of equipment that might make Cross look like Shulk or something like that. I don't know. But a lot of the things that they've announced for 3D have also been in X. For instance, yesterday on their official website they revealed that the whole model viewing and the sound test and all that is going to be in Xenoblade Chronicles X as well.
That's awesome.
There's going to be an enemy gallery and everything. So I'm now wondering if that means that Shulk Amiibo is now going to be used for yet another game, despite it being so rare.
It could. It very well could. And hopefully by the time the game comes out in the US, the Shulk Amiibo will be a little bit more plentiful, but I'm kind of doubtful about that.
And Marth got a reprint for Codename Steam. Anything can happen.
Yeah, that's true. Going back to Xenoblade Chronicles, though, I just remembered one of the other really cool features is how you could send up a camera into the sky and sort of get an overhead view of the surrounding area, so you can it helps you with your searches, it helps you, I guess, scout enemies and get, plan ahead. And I really like how the exploration is such a key factor in this game, and they're showing so many different ways in order to actually do that exploration.
It kind of reminds me a bit of Pikmin 3, but I like it a lot better that you can go to a bird's eye view and just kind of look all around. Because there are a lot of times where you'd want to get a better view of something in the original, though, but you couldn't exactly move the camera in a way that you could do that. Considering that you're able to fly around in a doll and everything like that, it makes sense for them to do something like that, because they do have to render visuals so that you can see them from all different angles and everything. I can only imagine how much of a headache it was to get all that work. And whoa, okay, something, okay. Something just came out of the translations, and this is interesting. We have details on exactly what the online is going to be.
Oh, cool.
It is that you are able to tackle multiplayer side quests with your friends online.
Nice. So did they say whether these are multiplayer exclusive side quests, or they're just certain side quests that single players can also do, but you can invite your friends over and do as well?
I don't know. It goes up to 4 players, and it's just that you can tackle an objective together, similar to party quests and MMOs. How you're able to take on a bigger objective because there's more of you.
Okay, that's pretty cool. I'm glad they're taking that step. I mean, I don't need it to be the entire game, but to be able to just go online with friends and take on certain missions together and maybe get some cool drops or loot or whatever for your character, that'd be really cool. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
It's kind of funny. I was about to like make fun of us for like going off on an Amiibo tangent though, because it's like whenever there's anything related to Amiibo, you can't help but complain a little bit about like, God, it's so impossible to find though. But we probably wouldn't have still been talking when that got dropped if we didn't do that.
Yeah. Sometimes things just work out, so I will take it.
Whoa. Okay. Not only can 4 people do quests together, 32 players can be passively connected and like chat together and stuff.
Interesting. So you could just talk in-game with your friends as you're playing your individual games.
Yeah, it goes up to 32 people, and then it's that 4 people can do a quest together.
That's actually kind of cool.
Yeah.
That's would not expect in-game chat for the game for a game like this. Like far as
there was the keyboard that we saw in like other footage though.
Yeah, it's true. I wonder if do they say whether you have to use the keyboard or can you just talk in like
I don't know,
using the mic?
They haven't said anything about voice chat though. We saw that chat window like in the lower corner and everything.
Yeah, but I'm not quite sure. Like you really have to stop and you have to stop what you're doing and bring up a keyboard in order to type out to your friends. I'm not sure if that's the most convenient. So I'm kind of hoping you can just do like multi-chat, but with 32 different people running this game, I can see how that can be a little bit tricky.
I will say, if you're able to like go out there with friends, I could see it just being like a really fun time. Not only just discovering these different locations, but we saw like that huge unique monster that had like those 4 legs, like that. You know the one I'm talking about, like the really like wide one.
Yeah.
And it's like that thing like runs after you so fast, and in that section of the footage, the party is like level 20 and it's like level 50. I had my moments with like some unique monsters like sneaking up on me in the original game, and they'd hurt, but I was usually able to at least get away, and it was just kind of more of an annoyance though. But dude, this time it's just gonna be like an oh crap moment where you're just gonna be like shouting at each other.
Well, yeah, because it literally, like, you had no idea it was there. It burst out of the ground, and all of a sudden it's like, oh crap, oh crap, oh crap, oh crap.
Yeah, like you don't even see it's there, and then like it runs that fast after you. It's like freaking Five Nights at Freddy's or something.
Yeah, I can just imagine that there'd be some really good reaction moments with that game, and just like sort of exploring together, and then all of a sudden that guy shows up, and you gotta sort of think on your feet. Well, any final thoughts on the game from what we've seen so far?
If I ever made videos on this game, finding 4 other people to do these quests with would be a nightmare, because I know like one other person that plays this game anywhere near me.
Maybe this will be the one that you can finally get your friends addicted to.
Yeah, I'll have to like convince John or something. I don't know. That is if I don't know. Like I've stated before that I think it looks good, but I'm kind of worried it won't be as good as Xenoblade Chronicles, because I'm not really sure what I think of Cross being a silent protagonist and all those things. Mm-hmm. So there's some things that I do think might be a bit of a downgrade though, but I will say that the gameplay is definitely not one of those things. The gameplay looks like it's vastly improved. I mean, multiplayer quests, the side quests worked more into the storytelling, the fact that like the battles look a lot more refined, a lot speedier, a lot more action-packed, the fact that the enemies just seem to have a bigger bearing on the environment, exploring around in mechs, like, gameplay-wise, they have vastly improved the gameplay from the original, which is saying something, because the original was an immensely enjoyable game to just kind of sit back and get lost in.
Yeah, and that definitely seems to be the case here, if not more so, just because of how much there is. And we're starting to see semblances, hints of the story coming in a bit more, because we did see the growth, which is, I believe, is the aliens that were trying to hunt you down, or hunt the humans down, did show up towards the end of that direct. So, maybe that's, that's more plot relevant, and we'll see something come out of that. But, I mean, I have faith that this is going to be a game that's, maybe not equal to the original, but definitely damn close.
Yeah. I will say that, like, they haven't revealed many details on the story yet, and I have a personal theory about this. This is, like, this is mostly conjecture. Uh-huh. It's that they've stated that there are those 8 factions that you can join. There was a section in the Direct, like, dedicated to it. I didn't really mention it, though, because we'd already talked about it in a previous discussion, and it'd been known for some time. You get different side quests depending on which ones you do, and different side quests mean you have different objectives that are worked into the story. I think the reason why they haven't given many details on the story yet is that it can progress in many different ways. As in, like, you join, like, this faction, it'll progress in this direction. You join this other one, it'll do that. And you could switch at any time, though, so I think it's more or less just that your experience in the story might be radically different from someone else's.
That's very true.
That might be why they haven't wanted to drop many details on it. It kind of like Mass Effect, how you have a lot of options in what you can do, and even like little side objectives can actually influence the story. Like I don't know how much Mass Effect you played though, but I remember like when the first one came out, I played like 2 hours of it, reset my system, and then I just tried playing the first 2 hours again though, but making all different decisions, and it was like a whole other game if I was like doing that.
Yeah, I like that. That's really cool how you can. It encourages different playthroughs and allows people to basically have their own unique story to it, which is kind of cool.
It's like a 300-hour game, and you're encouraging multiple playthroughs.
Well, yeah, 300 hours isn't that long.
And it's kind of funny that I bring up Mass Effect, though, because that game also had a customizable protagonist and everything like that.
That's true, but he spoke, so it didn't feel like... It's not a silent... It's much different from the silent protagonist. It really felt like you were stepping into his shoes, and I hope they do take that direction with Cross.
I hope Cross will talk at least a little bit, like when you answer questions in cutscenes, like that he'll actually verbally speak your responses, kind of like Shepard does in Mass Effect.
I guess we'll see. I mean, it's coming out in just a couple months. We'll definitely know at least those details from the Japanese release. Mm-hmm. So.
Oh, another detail just came out right as we were wrapping it up.
Oh, okay.
We were complaining about like having to like pull up like the gamepad to like chat with people. The game actually supports USB keyboard as an input method.
Oh, okay, that's interesting.
Yeah. So that's good. We already knew about off TV play and all that, and it also supports the Pro controller.
Nice.
Which I'm happy about. Anyway, sorry. I keep interrupting you though because more details keep coming out. This is off of the Japanese eShop page that just went up.
Nice.
Game also runs at 720p.
Okay, that's fair. I mean, it was hard to expect it to run at a full 1080.
Yeah, considering how far the draw distance is and like how you can adjust the camera any which way you want, it's a lot for the system to do.
Yeah, just a bit. But no, everything sounds great. It's cool that they're actually allowing keyboard. That'll make things a lot simpler. Alright, guys. Well, I think that covers it for our Xenoblade Chronicles X discussion, as long as no other details come out while we're recording. But anyway, I want to thank Chugga for joining me once again. Where can everyone find you at?
YouTube.com/Chuggaaconroy. Where else would you really expect me to say when you just said my name?
You might be something else. I don't know.
Go subscribe to Proton John.
Yes, go to subscribe to him, and that's how you'll find Chugga. Or you can, of course, subscribe to Runaway Guys for more Chugga. So, speaking of Proton John. Anyway, thank you guys for watching, and if you like this video, be sure to like us on Facebook and Twitter at GameXplain. And of course, stay tuned to GameXplain for more on Xenoblade Chronicles and other things gaming too. Until next time, guys. Bye.